So today is a orientation session, right? So we'll have a general discussion about CSAT, right? And what will be our course of action for the next 20 days, that we'll discuss how the course is going to be done with respect to the test and other things, how it will proceed. So those things we are going to discuss today, right? Not as a subject as such, but we'll try to understand, how the questions are coming overall, and what are the various topics that is being, repeatedly being asked, and how your approach should be, right? So that is the overall idea of today's session, and tomorrow it will be break. From Wednesday the classes will start. Okay, all right. So classes will be there for 4 hours. Okay, so how this 4 hours has been split is very important. So what we'll do, see, if I take a topic, then solve it, teach you, then the next question will come again, next topic will be taught. If I do that, basically many a times I may feel that the completion will not happen according to the plan. So what I will do, every day when we start a class, it has been total 4 hours of class. It will be from the morning 10 to afternoon 2. So that afternoon, whatever that you, with respect to your mains, whatever that you want to do, you can continue the process, okay, till the GS course starts, right? So you don't need to worry anything about GS as of now. Even if you have, not done your basics also, it's completely fine. Just focus on your mains, whatever that is left out, so that when GS starts, you will not have enough time to do that, right? So that means that because the classes for GS will be almost there for 7 hours. Again, I'll tell you how that 7 hours will go, and we'll have a orientation session for the GS separately by analyzing the POQs and other things, how you exactly have to plan it out, right? Now, GS CSAT basically is something which every year, if you look at the paper, the kind of questions, sometimes it looks very difficult, but sometimes it is manageable. But if you look at holistically, why this is difficult or easy will happen, because of the maths question. If the maths question you find it easy, you feel paper is easy, right? But if you, let's say, the paper, you feel that, if it is difficult, when a number system question becomes difficult. But in reality, there are passages which are basically 30 questions, which is not going to change to a great extent. So that means that, irrespective of difficulty of the mathematics, the CSAT ka RC, that will remain same. So your target should be, that is a low hanging fruit as well, because, in GS what will happen, maths what will happen, quantitative aptitude, let's say if I want to set a paper, as an examiner, it becomes easy for me to set the paper. Why? Because giving the wrong option is very easy there, right? Because you will get the answer only after you solve the question. Unless you don't know how to solve the question, you don't know any answer. So all 4 options are equally look difficult, as long as you have not solved the problem. But in reading comprehension, it is not the case, because already answer is hidden in the passage. You should read the passage properly and understand, and also as a paper setter, it is not so easy to give all 4 very close options. Whenever I want to make certain option wrong, I have to make sure that some word has to be used, so that the meaning will change, right? So once you get that idea of holding it back, where exactly how it has been framed, then you will be in a better position to answer such question. But in, aptitude or logical reasoning, for example, if I give you direction, he turns left, then right, then finally in which direction he is there, then it is easy for me to give east, north, south, then another direction. So that means that it becomes very easy for me to give 4 options. As long as you did not draw the map properly, you will not be in a position to identify it, right? So it is setting the wrong option is very easy in aptitude as well as logical reasoning, but it is not the case with the reading comprehension. One thing that you have to understand. Second, in the reading comprehension, there will be Hindi translation. So since it is not a English comprehension, exact vocabulary is not very important, right? Because in English, you have, each word will connote a different meaning, right? I keep giving an example. For example, if I use invent, that is a different meaning. If I say innovate, that is a separate meaning. If I say create, that is a separate meaning, right? If I say produce, that is a separate meaning. So you cannot use create instead of produce. But when I translate it, I will not have that many words basically, right? So, I can use it interchangeably, it will not matter in the first place, right? So in that sense, basically, they will not see that word to word kind of thing, but rather overall, the essence of the passage becomes very important. Though your vocabulary is not that great, but if you can read an article and understand it, just like in any newspaper, any book, then you will understand these passages also, right? So in that sense, basically, the passages are something that you should focus upon. Many students, will not focus upon that. They put lot of effort on single chapter, let's say time, speed, distance. They will be preparing every aspect of it and give lot of time to it, but at the end of the day, there will be 1 or 2 questions, right? So you should be in a position to understand. I know you have to treat this exam like a business, right? So what we do in a business, we always search where with the lesser effort I can make more money, right? So that is the same idea here. With the lesser effort, how you can score more marks. What is your easy thing? Because each question, whether it is the most difficult question in the paper or most easiest one, all carry equal marks. So our job is what? To search that easy question rather than getting stuck in the difficult question, right? So that also if you do, then the things will be fine, right? So for that, what I will do, we'll discuss whatever the various topics that has been, how many questions has come. Then we'll open 2025 ka paper. Today I will not discuss the reading comprehension, right? Reading comprehension, it has to be taught, how it has to be seen, how passages has to be read, what kind of various directives will be given, what is the meaning of assumption, what is the meaning of inference, and then we have to search them in the passage, how to read the passage, whether, start with the question, understand what exactly they're asking in the passage, then go to the passage and study that passage and solve them, right? So that you are going to get it when we are solving that reading comprehension. So in that sense, today I will just show you few questions which look basically difficult, but still, it can easily manageable within 30-50 seconds if you just know the concept behind it. So that is your responsibility to pick the cheesy question in the paper rather than getting stuck. Many people start with the question number 1. They start doing it having a basic idea and they will invest, let's say, 5 minutes, 6 minutes over there. Then as you do like that 5-6 question, half an hour is happened, you have not solved many of the question, automatically your confidence also start going down. So it becomes very, very easy to do, important to cherry pick the easy question first, where you are having a grip over, and suddenly you can solve them. For example, coding, decoding, right? Blood relation, where you are knowing them, after your passages, second priority for those questions should happen. So that you pick them, within half an hour you would have solved, let's say 10 to 12, 15 questions, right? 2 minutes per question also if you can take, 15 questions would have been done. 30 passages, already you are at 45, 50 questions. So that, itself will give you, because many of the students, the common issue that they told is, I attended only 40 question, 42 question. Now I am hoping for the answer keys to, work in my favor, right? So that is what happens. So your target should be minimum 50 to 55 question. Once you can get that 50 to 55 question within that 2 hours, then irrespective of even if you do, let's say 10 mistake, 12 mistake, you are completely safe, right? But if you have attended number of question itself is less, and in your bad day, let's say some passage has gone wrong, then automatically you will end up doing, coming in the border. So our target should be 50 to 55 question, so that you always keep a space for mistakes. Mistakes do happen in the pressure. Now when I do it without any pressure, that becomes easy. When you are doing in the examination, you are getting stuck with certain question, and then basically you have to leave it all the effort that you have done till now and go to the next question is very, very, painful. Usually what happens is our ego will not allow it, because we have done almost this much of, already this much of steps has been done. So I have to be, I still try to do it rather than moving into the next question, right? So in that sense, basically it is very important for you to make sure that you attend 50 to 55 question. 80 question may 60 question also if you do, that is fine, but 60 is a little higher. Minimum 50 you have to do. 41, 42, this kind of questions is always threatful. Even if 10, 15 goes wrong, then you come to border, right? So in our class, what we are going to do, we build from the basics where you need practice, right? And there are 3 parts. So let me explain now, right? So this is your syllabus, okay? And most of you know the syllabus. Still, since it is a orientation class, let me explain it, assuming that nobody knows anything, all right? So in that way I will do, right? Let's start. So this is the syllabus. So in this syllabus, if you see, the first part is comprehension, Second part is interpersonal skills, including communication. That is basically the verbal reasoning, right? The third is logical reasoning and analytical ability. Fourth is decision making and problem solving. Fifth is general mental ability. And sixth is basic numeracy. So now what you are supposed to observe here is, even in your syllabus bulletin point, they have not said that general mental ability and basic numeracy are same. Two different syllabus has been given. So that means that when this is as a separate syllabus, if I want to pick equal number of questions from each part, this will also have a n number of questions. So in this basic numeracy, you will have number system, you will have ratio proportion, you will have percentages, right? So you will have averages, which does not need any formula as such, but the conceptual clarity becomes very, very important for the basic numeracy. For basic numeracy, unlike other general mental ability, there is a formula that you are going to do. That is not going to happen here. So you should have the broader understanding, what are numbers, what is real number, what is rational number, what is irrational number, then properties of them basically, right? So that has to be seen, right? So, that is one thing. And as I told you, interpersonal skills. This is the syllabus that has been released in 2011. When 2011 May, there was only one, GS paper, and in mains basically there was no ethics, right? There were two optional papers and two GS papers. Within the two GS paper, you would not having this security, you are not having like, world history, these syllabus were not there basically, right? So now this interpersonal skills was introduced at that point of time. When they introduced, before introducing CSAT, there was GS, there was optional paper for your prelims. This optional paper, different students used to pick different optional. So there was no parity while selecting for the next round. So what they did, they removed the optional from the, this thing, the prelims, and they have introduced CSAT instead. When they have introduced, what was the idea? People should have high aptitude, because when you are in the service, you cannot go all the time by the rules. As the governance is becoming, now from the government it is more becoming governance, you have to take lot of independent decisions. You have to weigh not just by the rules, but by the, let's say if there are two, tenders are there. So you have to pick which one is better. Then you need aptitude rather than the bookish rules, right? For that basically, the aptitude of a person becomes very important. So what they did, we will try the aptitude, test the aptitude, and those who are good in the aptitude only will be selected to the next round. So whatever that happens in the next round, we are already have the people with a very high aptitude. Now when they have introduced this, CSAT mark score used to be counted for your prelims cutoff, not like you have to just get the 66.66, right? So now what has happened, when it has to be counted, there are people from IITs, IIMs, or someone who is very good at maths, right? Like us, when I did in the first attempt, I got 180 in the CSAT paper itself. Now GS did not matter, I scored just 70, still I was having very high score. People who are having 100, 110 in GS, even though they have scored again 110 in CSAT, they are still 30 marks behind me, right? So now this is basically helping someone who has actually good in the English, good in maths. Now that has been led to those things. Then before, what was happening, different stream people, commerce people will also write the mains, arts people will, or humanity ground ka will also write the mains. There was a equal competition because optional was there. As long as you are good in your subject, you can enter there. Now once they introduce the CSAT, automatically number of people who can enter has gone down. Because of that, the protest has started happening from the humanity background people. Then UPSC decided that this was purely English. Interpersonal skill was what? Purely English question with no Hindi translation. They wanted to check that how good you are in English. That means that it eventually helps whom? Who are from the English medium. So the regional background medium started protesting. So first, as a measure to pacify them, UPSC removed this. That means that pure English passage has been removed. But still CSAT was counting as a marks. Over the time, basically the protest intensified. Then they decided that CSAT will be made qualified, right? Now that means that this interpersonal skills, including communication skill, that is purely English passages, will be asked no more. So that is, even though it is there in your syllabus, this is not coming in your exam. Second, the decision making and problem solving. Now as I told you, it was introduced in 2011. At that point of time, ethics was not there in the mains. So whatever your ethical values, your decision making capabilities, all used to be checked in the prelims itself. They used to give a case studies in the prelims. and 4 options used to be given, and they told you to pick the right option. If you are an officer, what you would have been done in this situation. Now, once the ethics was introduced in 2013, now they have stopped asking the question from decision making and problem solving also. So, it is there in the syllabus, no more question has been asked. So, that will boil down the syllabus to only 4 bulletin points now, though there are 6 in the syllabus copy. That is, 1, reading comprehension, 2nd, logical reasoning and analytical ability, 3rd, general mental ability, 4th, basic numeracy. Right. Now, since this will have around 27 to 30 questions every year, minimum 27, continuously it was there, last year it was 30 questions, right. So, that means that remaining 50 question they has to ask from logical reasoning, general mental ability and basic numeracy. Now, logical reasoning, before there were lot many questions, now you can expect around 15 to 18 questions from the logical reasoning, where it will have syllogism, blood relation, directions, coding, decoding, all these topics, missing series, all these comes under the logical reasoning and analytical ability. You can expect around 15 questions, which are very easy to tackle also. So, if you master it, then it is easy. If you have practiced more, at least out of 12, 18 questions, you can do 12 questions comfortably without having any issue as such, right. So, this is something that you have to master. You cannot neglect this, right. Similarly, general mental ability you have time, speed, distance and other things also, time and work, all those things. But every year, the basic numeracy you will have around 25 to 30 questions, right. Last time, from the number system alone, you had 25 questions. Right. Now, somebody is saying that number system, if you have not practiced well, knowing the basic and even odd, even plus odd is even, if you are getting confused, and many people just felt that I will manage with the other topic, they are basically compromising 30 questions overall in the basic numeracy. That means that will boil down to only 50 questions to you now. Within 50 questions, you have to manage the thing. So, this is something cannot be neglected at all. Even if you look at CDS paper, CAPF paper, any UPSC conducted exam, number system, you will get maximum number of questions. So, to understand that, what we are going to do in the class, how the classes structure will be there now, let's understand it, right. We will have 4 hours of session, 4 hours of session. Within 4 hours, first 1.5 hours, right, can be like 1 hour 30 minutes, 1 hour 40 minutes, depending upon that syllabus. Around 1 hour 30 minutes will be kept for teaching the basics. That is, conceptual clarity will be given here. Will not solve too many problems, 1 or 2 problems, how it will come, the basic things. Once this is done, next 1 hour will be the PYQs that has been asked from those topics that has been discussed now. So, that will make your PYQ done. Next 1 hour, practice question, not PYQs, the similar kind of practice question that we have discussed on the same topic. Why we have done this? One, you will solve the PYQs, also you will solve the practice question, so that you don't need to do anything after going home. The practice that you are supposed to do at home, that will be done in the class itself. However, without giving anything for the home, will not solve the purpose, because many a times you have to sit alone and think and solve. In the class, many times that will not happen. Somebody would have already told the answer, you stop doing it. And I will also jump to the answer and start telling the answer. So, because of that, you want to have that self-practice also. For that, what I am going to do, I will give you 5 to 10 questions, depending upon the topic, from those papers which has been set by UPSC. That means that CDS, CAPF, CISF, Geoscientist, all the other exams that conducted by UPSC from the last 5 years. Whatever the question that has been, let's say reminder is there, reminder theorem we are solving. All the question that has been appeared from, reminder theorem, I will be giving you that as a homework. So that now what will happen? One, all the PYQs you have solved from the last 10 years, one thing. Along with whatever other exam from the UPSC standards they have conducted, you have solved it. So that means that whatever the other things that is covered, that is also done. Along with that, practice question, not from UPSC, but what else can be asked from that topic through a practice question, that also you are solving. So that means that once you finish that class, your basics are over, your PYQs are over, along with that your other exam question will be get as a homework, and other topics that is not in a PYQs but is different type of question from that topic can appear from CAT exam or other exam, whatever that has been there, that type of question will also be addressed. So that there is nothing left for you to do, or worry much about. Then if you just solve the tests that is given and other tests that is available in the market also, you can solve. No, you don't need to stop at only one test with respect to CSAT, because CSAT more you practice, more you have a grip over, right? So that is the basic idea. So once you do this by next 20 days, whatever by the 5th, we will get over, or for 3rd, we will, finish off our almost of all of our classes. By that time, your basic numeracy, general mental ability, reading comprehension would have been completely done. These 3 parts have been completely done. What will be left out? The logical reasoning and analytical ability is left out. Now, why I have left them? Because, for example, blood relation. Once I teach them, it just takes 20 minutes to teach it, or half an hour to teach them. And you understand it that day itself. And you solve few questions, you feel comfortable also. Because, the direction, what will happen? He goes north, then left, right? So, you just practice that, how to draw that map, you are getting the answer. It is not a very difficult chapter as such. Now, if you do it in the beginning, then you feel like this is so easy, I will do it at the end, I will do it at the end, you don't do it at the end. So, keeping that in mind, this part will be done at a very last, in the month of maybe, February, right? So, this part will be done, then we go to GS, cover all the GS part, then the last part, which is easy cakewalk, whatever, one day if you sit and solve, your job is done, that will be kept at the end. Whatever you need more practice, number system, just one day if I solve, that is not enough. You have to do practice, because different type of question is being asked. For that, we are keeping the time, we are keeping more time. So that, even in that next 2 months when GS is happening, you can keep solving the question. If some question, let's say if I give you 15 questions from one topic today, but you had solved only 10. So that means that you have kept 5 along with you, that you can solve it whenever you want. But all the questions from the last 5 years will be given. It can be 10 also, it can be 20 also. I give you all the questions with your day-to-day timetable. As long as you are solving 5-6 questions per day after the class, that would be more than sufficient. But other question you can keep solving till your prelims. So that everything in the other exam also you would have done. UPSC, POQ also you would have done. Other different type of practice question also has been done. Class may, the concept is also clear. Right. So in that way, basically you will be in a very better place. Right. So don't need to worry anything about CSAT. All right. And passages, I will, discuss the passages also, tell you how to do that. One session completely will be kept for hours, will be kept for passages. From the next session, only practice will happen. Because passage is not something that you have to teach for 10 classes. It is just one class that you need. Understand how exactly you are supposed to read the passage, how you are supposed to keep it simple. After that, it is more about practice. So every day, along with CSAT, quantitative, we also practice the CSAT after 10 days. After 10 days, your basic numeracy gets over. Then what we will do? A separate topic will not take 1.5 hours at that point of time. We will also keep, let's say, 45 minutes for the passages. One day we will keep 45, next day 45 minutes, 45 minutes. Like that, I will make you solve last 7 years ka paper. That is 2019 to 2025. Right? Remaining 2018 to 2011 paper that you are solving at home. Because I don't want you to solve the passages outside UPSC. Many people, what will happen in the coaching institute that I have seen. They have the passages which has been set up by someone who is very good at English. Now, who will set the passages in any institute question paper? Who will be very good at English, because he has to read the passage, set the question, and then option also explanation why this is correct or not. It will be usually set by someone who is really good at English. Now, what they do, they go minute level. They will, they will not understand that it is just a overall essence is required. Many a time they make the things complicated. This word has been used. That is why this meaning has been changed. That is more true for CAT-like, GMAT kind of passages, where basically the English becomes very important. The, the keyword, directives, that becomes very important. Not exactly for the, CSAT passages. So more you practice that, you also start going, in a very minute level, even in for a UPSC regular passages, and start making the mistake. So practice more and more only UPSC papers as much as possible. Okay, and for other overall, if you want to few practice, you can practice, but you have to keep it at that level. So understanding how the question will be set, how the option has to be eliminated, that you have to practice only through the UPSC. But if you want to solve more question, you can do. But don't go through their synopsis, understand why this is wrong, why this is correct. That you do it from the UPSC paper itself. Because every year 30 question, 28 question. Let's say there are 11 years ka papers, 2011 to 2015. That means that 15 years paper is there. 15 years, let's say even if I take average 25, there will be more than 300 question you are going to solve from the UPSC itself. If you have solved 300 question from the UPSC itself, that would be more than sufficient. It is not that you have to solve 1000 passages, 100 passages, 200 passages. It is more about you have to understand what is the way, how you are supposed to eliminate. Once you get a grip, then you keep repeating the same passages, keep seeing the same passages, that would suffice. All right. So that is the whole idea. Right. Now, if I look at, this I have already told you. Now, if I just put the last 5 years analysis, just to have a broader viewpoint again. So again, if you look at it, the passages are, the reading comprehension continuously 27 questions, except in 2025, 29 or 30 questions are there, right? Similarly, if you see basic numeracy and logical, 31, 35, 38, 37, 35. So it is basically numeracy plus quant I have added. But within that lion's share is what? Basic numeracy, not the other mathematical quantity. That is the number system. Now I will show you 2025 paper. It will show you how many number system are there, how many questions you could easily solve them, having the basic idea, right? And next, if you look at logical reasoning, it was 22, then it became 18. Now it is around 15, 16. This is what I told you. That means that now the weightage is somewhere around 15 to 16, right? It is not having equal weightage as the basic numeracy. So this is important, easy 15 questions. So you have to practice logical reasoning very well. But at the same time, I just depend on passages and logical reasoning will not suffice, because it will add up to 45 questions only, right? So basic numeracy you cannot neglect. There is no option for you saying that the basic maths is becoming difficult, so I will leave this, I will practice more which is easy. So you have to be equally good in all. In some topics, let's say if I am not understanding geometry at all, 1 or 2 question can come. So that kind of topic you can leave. That is completely fine, understandable. Topic wise you can give, but you cannot leave the entire unit altogether. I can leave, for example, permutation combination, right? So permutation combination from last 2 years the question has not been asked, but we will cover that topic. What I am saying is, but if you did not understand too depth kind of question, even if you are solving basic, that would be fine. Because even let's say they ask 4 or 5 questions, 3 will be basic, you can solve it. 2, let's say it is very difficult and it is very taxing for you to understand it. That is okay. Because at the end of the day, our target is making 55 questions attend properly. So you should not worry about each and every topic. Some topics become too difficult. Topic wise, understand the basic. Too depthness if it is happening, and if you are not able to cope up with it because your basic is not that great, that would be fine. But basic has to be correct. There is no option that I will not read the chapter of permutation combination. I have to read the permutation, I have to read the combination, but let's say if the selections become too difficult, the topic, some of the permutation combination concept itself is too difficult to understand, right? If it is understandable, it is very easy chapter as such. But let's say some people find it very difficult, then what they can do, then such part they can neglect, 1 or 2, because at the end of the day, you are like a businessman. I want that 55 questions. I have to pick that 55 question comfortably and clear the examination. And our target will not be like 65, 70 or 80. We have to get minimum 100 marks. Right, so that should be your target, to get minimum 100 marks from the CSAT. Why? Because in the answer keys, whenever you are seeing, many a times you have all the reason to say that answer is B. In reading passage, UPSC has picked C. Like that, let's say 5, 6 passages can go wrong also. So keeping that in mind, I don't want to be in that border case where I am getting 75, 65, 70 like that, and waiting for the what it can happen. Rather than that, now anyways they will release the answer key also. Right. So to be more safer side always, it is always that you should aim for at least 100. Right. Now within basic numeracy and quant, what are the important topics? Right. So one, number system, then a ratio proportion and partnership. That means that whenever you are reading the basic numeracy, you have to learn the chapter associated with. That means that let's say ratio proportion is learnt. 2 people invested money. One has invested 10,000. Another has invested 20,000, right? So now when they get the profit from the company, how they are supposed to share, right? Just because two people are there, it is not 50-50, depends upon your investment, right? So that means that the ratio of your investment and ratio the profit that you earn remains same. That is the concept at the end of the day. So if you have put 10,000, in another person has put 20,000, while he is putting double the money in profit also, you should get 1:2 share. So that is basically the ratio proportion may you can also cover partnership chapter then and there. How the chapter will go, they will not be done separately. When I do averages, problems on ages will be done together. When we do, let's say, and mixture and delegation will also be done with the averages. Now when I do percentages, profit and loss is nothing but percentage. Somebody lost this much profit, he got, so, the loss has been this much, selling price he has kept 20% above the, market price he has kept. So that is basically whatever that we are discussing. With the percentages, we will also cover profit and loss, simple interest and compound interest. This chapter is not separate, this chapter is not separate, this chapter is not separate. So once you learn the basic numeracy and all associated chapter with them will be studied together. So that the basic concept will also get consolidated and the application of that concept will also get consolidated. Right? Similarly, time and work and pipes and system, both are same. That will be not taught as a two separate chapter. Right? In time and work, what will happen? Men or women or child, children, they will do the work. In pipes and system, pipe will do the work. Filling the tank is basically a work. It is not done by human but done by the pipes. Right? So the same thing here. So that means that when you are studying the time and work, along with that only we will study the pipes and systems. So similar chapter studied together. So in one way you can finish them all. So that means that these are the permutation combination. Then data sufficiency, which can have all of them together. Right? So time, speed, distance, within that only we will try and also relative speed also, all those that is time, speed, distance we learn in 2 days. Right? So in that way we cover this basic numeracy, right? And quant. Now logical reasoning mein syllogism, set theory and Venn diagram, they are almost same, because for syllogism also you have to draw a Venn diagrams. So that will be taught together. Set theory will be first taught and then Venn diagram related to it and then syllogism. Then basically direction sense, all these are independent chapter. Direction sense is nothing to do with blood relation. Blood relation is nothing to do with coding and decoding. In quant, the mixture of the chapter can happen. They can raise the ratio also, the percentage of profit also, in all different topics can be clubbed together and asked in a single question. That is not going to happen with respect to the logical reasoning. Logical reasoning, all the chapters are standalone chapters. You have to study them. If you don't know anything about blood relation, still you can comfortably do the direction sense. Right? Nowadays what they are doing, they are mixing the logical reasoning with the number system also. Right? How they are mixing? For example, last time if you have seen in 2023, there was a question. If today is Monday, right? If today is Monday or Sunday, whichever the day it was, right? If today is Sunday, let's say, what will be a day after 10 to the power 10 days? Which day will come after 10 to the power 10 days? Now, what is the logic behind it? Calendar, how calendar works? How calendar works? If you have seen regular calendar, how does it work? For example, this is, let's say, today is Monday. What is the day today? 15, right? So that means that 15 is Monday. That means that 8 will also be Monday, 7 days before. First of this month would have been also be Monday. Next, after 7 days, 22 will also be on Monday. Similarly, after 7 days, 29 that will also be on Monday. Similarly, if I have Tuesday here, 2 will be Tuesday. 7 days after that, 9 will be Tuesday. 7 days after that, 16 will be Tuesday. 23 will be Tuesday. 30 will be Tuesday. Similarly, Wednesday, 3 will be Wednesday. 10 will be Wednesday. 17 will be Wednesday, 24th will be Wednesday, 31st is Wednesday. December it is there, so 31st is there. Right? So similarly, next Thursday will be there, Friday will be there, Saturday will be there, Sunday will be there. The same dates continue. So if somebody tell you that first is Monday, what is the date on 17th? So how do you calculate it? You know that for each 7 days it will repeat. So that means that if I count the number of days between them, 1 and 17, how many days are there? 16 days are there. So if I divide them into 7, 7, 7, right? So what will be the remainder? 7 2s are 14. Remainder will be, right? So that means that if it was exact 14 days, zero remainder, that is 7 days it is happening, then it would have been Sunday. But since it is 16, 2 extra days are there. So whatever the remainder, that is 2 extra is there, add 2 to it. So that means that 2 add 2 to Monday, that is Tuesday, Wednesday. If somebody asks you what is the day on 31st, now first you know, 31st you know, that means that how many day gap days are there? 30 days gap. So if I want to have that 30 days gap, and if I divide by 7, then what will be the remainder? 2 will be the remainder. So if it was exactly 28, 7, 7, 7, then it would have been Monday itself. Since 2 extra days I am getting, I will add 2 days to it. So when I add 2 days to it, basically Monday to you add 2 days, that is Tuesday, Wednesday. So that is your 31st is basically Wednesday. This is the logic. So whatever the day they are giving, all we have to do is for 7 days it will repeat. So if they tell you that there are 300 days gap between 2 days, what will be a day? Then I just divide 300 by 7. 7 4s are 28. 2 will remain. Again it will become 20. 7 2s are 14. So that means that 6 will be the remainder. So add 6 days to the present day. Whatever the day that comes, that will be your day. Right? So that is how this will work. Only thing is, if it is a leap year, 366 days will be there. It is a normal year, 365 days will be there. That is the only logic that you are supposed to remember, right? Now the same question, if somebody asks you, if today is Monday, what will be 10 to the power of 10 day, after 10 to the power of 10 days? So the gap is 10 to the power of 10 days. So they are saying that divide 10 to the power of 10 by 7, then see what is the remainder. Now this is basically the concept of reminders, right? So once you know how to find the remainder, then only you can get the answer. So let's say if I studied the calendar very well, but remainder I have not studied very well, then 10 to the power of 10 by 7 I cannot solve in the exam. So though I have solved them all the different types of calendar kind of question, but when they have mixed the number system and you have not mastered it, automatically you will lose it. Though you know the concept, but you don't know how to get that remainder. So that will come to a picture. Now what they are doing, they are mixing up the things like this. So that is one thing that you have to be careful about. If they are giving two speeds of A and B, they are giving in ratio 2:3, or one is 50% faster than second person. That means that percentage concept will come here. So automatically, without knowing percentage concept, you cannot apply that, even though you know how to do times and speed and distance. One person is 50% more efficient than the person B while doing a work, or they will tell that A will take 50% less time compared to B. That means that percentage is coming here. Or the number of days that will be taken by A, B will be in the ratio of 2:3. That means that ratio and proportion is introduced in the chapter of time and work. So that means that without those chapter, if you have not mastered, even though I feel that I can do time and work and other chapter, if they start mixing it up, then it becomes difficult. So that is why what is the important? You have to learn the basic numeracy, right? Now there are two types of student in our class, right? Next is basically reading comprehension, right? Reading comprehension. Within here data interpretation is very less number of questions, right? Even if it is there, you don't need to attend them in the exam condition because it will take a lot of time unless it is very easy question, right? Why? Before what was happening when marks used to be counted, they don't want to give just passing marks. Then what they used to give in one data interpretation table only, followed by 3 questions used to be there, followed by 4 questions used to be there. So if you can solve that complete data, you would have got answer for 4 questions. Now it was worthy doing. Now since they are not giving 4 5 questions followed by 1 question, all they are doing is single question for single one. So that means that it becomes very less productive in terms of our time to get that answer. Getting the answer in data interpretation is very easy, but how much time it is going to cost you, that has to be taken care of. So we'll do data interpretation at the very end, and basic different types, table ka, line graph, table graph, histogram, pie chart, all the different types of data interpretation we do at the end. But I personally suggest, if there is only one question for the data interpretation, then it is not really worth to solve that in the examination hall, because it will time is what you are fighting against in the CSAT. So the time management is the key in the CSAT. All right. So next, reading comprehension. reading comprehension में, right, important themes if you are seeing, because most of the things that you are, whatever that you are seeing, it is from your syllabus only. You are already know the topic. It is not that, the passage is not being understood, right? So, when I was taking CAT exam, at that point of time when I used to attend the passage seems to be very difficult for me, right? I was someone who has scored very less in, CAT ka RC category. The reason was that most of the passages were, let's say, they have taken from the newspaper. Let's say it used to be from economy. At that point of time, when I was not in a UPSC field, I was not even knowing what is this monetary policy. Right? They used to give that monetary policy, inflation, this happened, then because now I am not understanding the exact passage, what exactly he is talking about. For example, he is talking about climate change, ocean acidification. If you don't know anything about them, and then you are reading this passage, you will not understand them properly. So most of the things, whatever that I used to understand and solve them, I would have my own vision of it, but without having the proper basics. Now that is not a problem for you, because most of the passage you are knowing, maybe the desertification and its impact, agriculture, food waste and something like this, dry agriculture, are the, all those topics you have already read for your mains or your prelims. So it is not that you don't know anything about the passages. What passages become very difficult is the philosophical and ethical passages. Last time they had asked about liberty, rights and duties, how they are correlated, and then the nature of democracy kind of topics that has been asked, or the truth, what is ethics, these kind of passages are regularly being asked. Here it is about the perception of the author, is what he is talking about. Here you would not have studied them in your GS, but you have to understand the passage. That is the difficult kind of passages for many of the students. Many a times if they don't understand it properly, rather than understanding author's ethic, if you start putting your own ethics, then the things will go wrong, right? Because it is basically a perspective kind of thing. But other passages which are like economy and policy. Now economy mein what they are going to do? All those kind of topics which are always having a contradiction. One time you are having growth, another time it is leading to inequality. So that kind of thing. One time you are having economic growth, and other time dying of the micro small industries, right? So which kind of policies that you should be, one time you should allow globalization, small industries here is getting disseminated. So there are two contradictions that is happening. That kind of question is being mostly asked. So check your overall understanding. So if you see the passages about inequality, GDP versus HDI, whether universal basic income that used to be given or not given, right? All these topics that I have taken from the last 3 years ka topic itself, fiscal policy and its impact. How they were asked about fiscal policy? Alone fiscal policy cannot solve the problem, because monetary policy is also there. Whether you should go with the monetary policy, then a fiscal policy should also align accordingly. That was the passage ka argument. What was the argument of the passage? If say inflation is high, okay. So if inflation is high, what monetary policy will do? They will start increase the interest rate so that the consumption can go less, right? Automatically when the demand goes less, automatically prices will go down. But when the inflation is happening, people who are not having money, prices are increasing. How government will handle it? Forget about monetary policy now. People, prices are very high. So what government will do? Government will give a lot of subsidies, right? So they, in a way, they are basically increasing the money supply in the market. When money supply is increased, rather than anyways we are getting the subsidy, we don't care about price hike, we still purchase because we are getting the subsidy. So that means that whatever the RBI is trying to control, it is becoming counterproductive, because the fiscal policy is not aligning with it. They want to contain the recession should not happen, COVID should not happen. Now supply has been disrupted. So automatically price is high. If they want to reduce the price, monetary policy, but people are not having a job. So government is giving subsidies. So automatically here they are increasing it, here they are decreasing it. So they cannot, one cannot go, without the support of other. If you want to control the inflation, the fiscal policy also has to be aligned with the monetary policy. So this kind of two contradictory nature that happens in the real time, right? In a virtual world, it might not happen. In an ideal world, we say that fiscal policy should support. But when people are suffering, government can't stop. At the same time, price also has to be controlled. So when these kind of contradiction happen, that kind of passages will be asked, right? So that you understand it better or not, right? So that is basically the critique of development is what it is being focused, whether you should know environment or economic growth. So two different types. Within that, the debate, whatever that is happening, that kind of passages are being asked, right? Similarly, if there is environment may they are going to more about policy kind of thing, climate change, what is the policy that has to be taken? Or let's say, many policy has to be pragmatic. Overall they had given about Delhi air pollution ka question, where they have told that even and odd, these kind of knee-jerk, solution will not solve the problem, right? Banning all diesel vehicles will not solve the problem, right? Like that, basically, extreme measures that is taken just as to popularize it, that will not work, but it is a research-based policy is what it is required. So that kind of, the policy-related question has been asked. If you see climate justice kind of question, or, sustainable agriculture, water crisis, or, Delhi ka air pollution and, vehicle banning. So these kind of the issues that is happening, that is being asked. So ecology and environmental, so you have studied, you would have done that. At the same time, science and technology. Here also, rather than giving about technology, they ask the ethical aspect of it. That means that if AI is coming, what will happen here? If data protection is not there, right to privacy, how it is being done, right? So that means that social media one way, right to privacy is other way. So that means that whenever two contradicting idea is there, that is being asked basically. That is, how biotech has to be regulated, right? Biotech is one way, it is good so that it can solve the food crisis problem, food shortage problem. However, it is also causing other health issues. So how do you regulate this biotech industry? So that is basically wherever this kind of contradiction is there, that kind of topics has been asked. Also with respect to social science, again issue based, right? Migration, urbanization, all these gender justice. So whatever that we think as an issue as such, that kind of passages, because in that passages only opinion will come. If it is one-sided, there won't be any opinion as such. It is just a straightforward passage. If I am just talking a topic and giving all its feature, it will not work. Whenever I am critic, I'm, in a way I am appreciating this, at the same time I am criticizing. So there will be two contradicting nature. What will be your opinion on it? What is author's opinion on it? Opinion will come where? Where there are two different kind of viewpoint. Then which stand that you take? Author has taken which stand? That will be asked. So that kind of topics will be asked. So you should be having that, approach what exactly author is saying, because in these kind of passages only your bias will come, because you have whether inequality is good or GDP growth is good. So when the passage is saying something else, your mind is saying, coming up with an idea that I have to balance in GS, I should say that inequality also has to be reduced, growth also should be given importance. Like that you would have written the balance answer in your, in your main. So you and also a personal bias will be there. I may support more for environment rather than economic growth. But the author is saying that economic growth may be more important. So you should not have your own personal bias, because when two contradictory nature will be there, that is where your personal bias will be exposed. So that will be checked whether you are, coming up with your personal bias, or you are able to understand what author is trying to convey, right? So that is why these passages are also become tricky. So always that you should be thinking only from the author's viewpoint. No personal mind knowledge will not come into the picture. Okay, so that is the important themes that is being covered, right? All of them. Now, type of question: assumptions, inference, implication, corollary, crux or main idea, essence, all are same. Then basically the critical message conveyed by the author. Now each directive have a different way to approach it. So that we are going to solve and understand the each word when we are solving the RC, right? So don't need to worry about anything about them. We will keep it very simple. I will not make the things complicated, because whole clearing the exam, one thing I am again stressing again and again and again in my previous classes also, in PGP classes also, if you have seen, it is keeping it simple is what basically makes you clear the exam. Don't think that I should be someone who should be having lot of knowledge to clear this. Understanding of the important concept becomes very important. Your foundation, conceptual clarity is important, not your content, right? Why this has happened is very important for you, rather than what has happened. All the data, this year it has happened, next year this has happened, those kind of, the regular kind of, move to too much of content is not really required, but the basic understanding becomes very important. So the same goes with the CSAT also. Don't make, try to make sure that passage may read line by line. Just read the passage just like a common reader. Just understand what it feels like, then answer the question. So that when you are solving the question, I know that by the time we finish our reading comprehension, you will be pretty much comfortable with the reading comprehension. You don't need to absolutely worry about it. Only thing is you should not think too much about the passage, right? You have to just read it the way what I will teach you to read. In that way, if you read, mostly maybe 3-4 questions still it can go wrong. That it is not under your control. But out of 27-28 passages, our target is to make sure that 22 is correct. 6 goes wrong. Every 3 wrong will take away 1 right question. So 6 wrong will take away 2 right question. So that means that 20 net question you will already have it. And second thing is you should not use more than 50 minutes to solve the passages. So within 50 minutes, if you are having 20 net question, what is the net question? How many net question you need for clearing the CSAT cutoff is 27 net question. So if you are already having 20 from the passages itself, then all you need is 7 net question. From the remaining 1 hour 10 minutes, that is 70 minutes is there, all you need is 7 question. Now I want to be safer side, so I may have 20 question extra, 70 minutes, 20 question. That means that for each question you will get 3.5 minutes. Still you will be completely safe, right? So and we can hand pick such questions as well. So that is one. So don't worry about reading comprehension, even if you are not good in English. Sir, I always worry about English. That you don't need to worry. Here, complete without the bias. I will tell you how to read the passage. We will read the passage together. We understand the passage together of last 7 years. Each question we will solve, and you will be in a better position to do that. All right. So that is basically your with respect to your CSAT. Now what I will do, I will just show you 2025 ka paper, right? And let's see how the question papers were. Which question that right? Two things you have to observe. You have to see which topic it is, so that you get a fair idea from which topic the question are appearing. One, and then whether how many are doable or not doable. That also will understand, right? So passages I will leave, right? First 4 are passages. We will keep it aside. Now you see here, okay? A natural number n such that it can be expressed as p plus q plus r, where p, q, r are distinct factors of n. How many numbers below 50 have this property, right? So one thing here, right? So a total natural number n, it will be expressed as p plus q plus r. That is sum of 3 numbers it has been. What those 3 are? They are nothing but they are the factors of the same number, right? So how many such numbers are really possible? Okay, so that is one thing. So this is basically one type of question. Now which topic it is? Number system factors, right? Now how do you solve this? Once you look at this, added as 3 factors ka sum. How do you solve that? Now, even if you want to think, now I don't want you to solve, but if you want to think, minimum they are holding that there should be 3 factors. So that means that if they are having 2 factors, I should not consider such number at all, because minimum is what? They should have 3 factors. So that means that can be prime number be considered here? Because prime numbers are those numbers which have exactly 2 factors, that is 1 and the number itself. So that means that all the prime factor has gone out of the scene, 1 is also gone out of the scene, right? Now if I want to add them, 3 factor, and I should get equal to the number itself. That means that, let's say if I have 6, okay, so I can have 1, 2, 3 and then 6. These are the factors. Now I should not have, among these 3 factors, what I should not have? I should not have the number itself, because if the number itself is there, other 2 factor if you add, it will become more than a number. So one factor, let's say the number itself, then other 2, any factor it can be 1 also, it can be 2 also, total will become more than that number. So that means that in any case I should not have this. So now if you look at it, 1 plus 2 plus 3, this will satisfy my condition. So that is my first number, 6. Next, if you think logically, if I double this number, that means that I will have 12, okay, then automatically its factors are 1. If it is 2, another factor is 2, it is 3, it is 4, then it is 6, and then it is 12, right? Apart from 1, 2, 3, 6, we are having double, number is doubled, so this also can be doubled, 3 ka double 6. So these many factors will come. Now if I again add 2 plus 4, 6, 6 plus 6, 12. So again I can do that basically. Similarly 18, for 18 I can have, 18 is 6 3 times, right? If I have 3 here, 6 here, 9 here, 3 plus 6, 9, 9 plus 9, 18. Number is doubled, factors also tripled, number is also tripled, all are satisfying the condition. Next number again I will have 24. That means that here I can have 4, here I can have 2, 4 the 8, 3 4 the 12, right? 6 has been, quadrupled. Similarly, all the factors also been quadrupled. Now 4 plus 8, 12, 12 plus 12, 24. So that means that if you see that whatever that 6, that is except that number, if you add all the factors, it is becoming equal to number, are called perfect numbers. Now all that perfect numbers basically will satisfy this condition. So that means that 6 will satisfy, double the 6 will satisfy, 12 will satisfy, that is 18 will satisfy, 24 will satisfy, 30 will satisfy, 36 will satisfy, 42 will satisfy, 48 will satisfy. That will give you 8 numbers. What is another perfect number? 28 is a perfect number, right? So that means that 28, what are the factors? If you see 1, 2, then 7, then 14, then 28, right? So that is 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 7, 10, 10 plus, which is 4, right? 1, 2, 4, 7, 14, 28. So that means that 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 4, 7, 7 plus 7, 14, 14 plus 14, 18. But here all 5 together it is becoming 28. What is the condition given? Only 3 distinct factors should be added. So 28, though perfect number, it is having not satisfying this condition. So which will satisfy? All the multiples of 6 will satisfy. If it is 6, then it is 12, then it is 18, then it is 24. That is the logic, right? But in the exam, is it easy to think like that and solve it? What we'll do, we'll naturally count all the number. First I will remove all the prime number. So 15 prime number is gone. Then 1 is removed, that is 16 number is gone. Like that if I start thinking, it takes lot of your time. So that means that if you are not able to decode such question, you have to leave and go. Don't try to solve them in the first round. All these needs a thinking. Whatever that needs a thinking, you are not getting at this point of time, you have not studied it. Then it is your job to avoid them and go forward. You can come back to them. This is number system, factors, I will come back. If time is there, I will write all the numbers and check. But initially, you should not spend 5 minutes on this. This is the basic thing I am telling. Doing is easy. Once you understand the logic, it is easy. But is it really possible in the exam to understand this and solve that? No. So that you should always keep it at the end. You have to solve them if the time permits, but you should not allot lot of time, and you are losing the time for the easy question. That should not happen. That is the basic idea. So in the exam, I will not solve it. Okay. In the first round, I will not solve it in the first round. Right. So second, there are three prime numbers P, Q, R. Each are less than 20. All three P, Q, R prime numbers, they are less than 20. Now, how many distinct possible? Now, as such that P minus Q is equal to Q minus R. Right? P minus Q should be equal to Q minus R. Right? So, how many distinct possible value you can get for P plus Q plus R? Now, will you leave this or will you think it? Because now they have told only less than 20. How many certain numbers will be there? Very less number. That you can solve in the question. Right? All you have to do is, let's say 2 is the first number, 3 is the second number, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17 and 19. Now, if they tell you that P minus Q is equal to Q minus R, I send Q one side, R one side, then what will happen? If I send Q this side, R this side, P plus R will be 2 times. Okay, if you add any two number, it should be double the other number. That is the whole logic. So that means that now the logic will come. If you add any two number, and it should become double the other number. So double the other number means whether the sum should be even or odd. If I add two number, it should be 2 times some other number. So addition should be what? Even. Now there is only 1, 2. If you add 2 with any other number, one is even number. If you add any other odd number, sum will be what? Odd itself. If I add 2 plus 3, it will become 5. If I add 2 plus 7, it will become 9. So that means that whenever you are adding an even number with another odd number, answer will be odd. So that means that 2 should not be P also, 2 should not be R also, because 1 is already odd. All other numbers are odd except 2. If you add any number with 2, the sum will become odd. So it cannot be multiple of 2. So that means that 2 need not to be added to any number. That logic should come to your mind. So that I add only 2 odd numbers so that I can get the answer as even number. Now think about like this. 3 you are having, 3 plus 5, 8. It is double of 4, but 4 is not a prime number. Similarly, 3 plus 7, 10. 10 is double of what? 5. So 5 is a prime number? Yes. So that means that 3, 5, 7. This is one category. Similarly, 3 plus 11, 14. 14 is double of 7. So that means that 3, 7, 11. This is another possibility. Similarly, 3 plus 13, 16, which is double of 8. 8 is not a prime number. You don't know to do that. Similarly, 3 plus 17, 20. 20 is not a prime number, because 20 basically half of 20 is 10. 10 is not a prime number. Similarly, 3 plus 19, 12. So 12 means half of 12 is what? 11. So that is again a prime number. So that means that 3, 19, 11. These are the three possibilities. Similarly, think with 5. Right. Now 5 plus 7, 12. Divided by 2 is 6. So that is not a possible. 5 plus 7, 16. Again divided by 2 is 8. 5 plus 13, 18. By 2 is 9. 9 is not a prime number. 5 plus 17, 22. Then 11 is prime number. So that means that again you will have 5, 11 and 17. 5 and 19. 24. 24 half is 12. Not a possible. Right. So that means that 5 with 5, starting with 5, you have finished all of them. Now think about 7. 7 plus 11, that is 18, not a possibility. 7 plus 13, that is 20, not a possibility. 7 plus 17, 24, half is 12, not a possibility. 7 plus 19, 26. 26 half is 13, possibility. So again 7, 13, 9. Right, as you go for higher number, you are starting getting very less numbers. Now if I start with 7, right, 7 is done. 11. 11 plus 13, because with this number I have already tried. You have to just go forward. You don't need to again check with 11 and 7, because 7 and 11 is checked already. So again, you don't need to check 11 and 7. So 11 and 13, 24, not a possibility. 11 and 17, 28 by 2 is 14, not a possibility. 11 and 19, 30 by 2 is 15, not a possibility. Now go with 13. 13 plus 17, 30, not a possibility because half is 15. Similarly, 13 plus 19, 32. 32 half is 16, not a possibility. Last is this, 17 and 19, 36, not a possibility because half is 18. 18 is not a prime number. So that means that there are this many sets, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets are there. That will be your answer. So now question is not about this. Question is about what? How many different possible values are there for P plus Q plus R? Not how many different sets are possible. How many different sums can be done from this? Now what is the sum here? 3 plus 5, 8. 8 plus 7 is 15. So 15 is one sum. Right, 15 is one sum. Similarly, 3 plus 7, 10. 10 plus 11, 21. 3 plus 19, 22. 22 plus 11, 30. 7 plus 13, that is basically 20. 20 plus 19. 20 plus 19 is how much? Right. Similarly, 5 plus 11, 16. 16 plus 17, 30. But 33 has repeated 2 times. Different possible value they have told. So how many different sums can happen? 4 different sums. 33 cannot be taken twice. 33 already got. So 4 will be get. But if you say pairs, 5. So has to be seen the question properly. Many times I will do 5, put the answer, go back. But the question is about how many different possible you will get for P plus Q plus. Again, it is easy question because less than 20. If the same question was for less than 50, don't do it in the first one. Logic remains same, but it takes lot of my time. So 20, 10, small number, please try it then and there itself. But if it is a larger number, don't try it. Come back. But the question is again number system. You can see how many number system are there. Again, how many possible value of P plus Q plus R that are satisfying 1 plus P plus 1 by Q plus 1 by R equal to 1, where P, Q, R are natural number, not necessarily distinct. Okay. Now again, it is easy question if you know the logic, but when I look in the exam, whether it is easy or not, you tell me that. When you read this question, whether it is easy question or it looks difficult, it needs some thought process or not. Thought process, leave it in the first one. Don't, whenever your thought process has to be involved in, don't involve your thought process in the beginning. Because after doing that, if you don't do it, that is where you are psychologically, you start feeling that paper is tough, I am not getting the answer. Let's say if I start with first question, I don't get the logic, I do 5 minutes, next go to the second question. Again, if I did not get properly, third again, if I take time, by that time you are already mentally drained out saying that paper is very difficult, all the questions. So what I do, the basic idea is someone who comfortably clear, is they don't worry about the difficult question, because I know that easiest question also carry equal marks, difficult question. So that means that I am searching for the easiest question, not worrying about the difficult question in the first place, right? So this we will do later, but I am just keeping it. But again, the question is from number system. You can see that number system, right? Now comes the easy question. What will come in the face of XY sequence? Okay, January, then December, then October, then gap is there, March, October, gap is there, September. So what may be the logic? January to January, how many month gap is there? 0 month gap, right? So there is no gap. January only, next term is also January, so 0 month gap. January to December, how many month gap is there? 1 month gap is there, right? So next December to October, that is November, October, 2 months gap is there. So next should be how many months gap? 3 months. From October, that is September, then August, July. So 3 months gap means now which should come? July should come, right? After July, how many months gap should be there? 4 months, 5 months, 4 months, 4 months, 4 months, right? So that is June, May, April, March, that is coming here. Again, similarly, 5 month gap should be there, right? Then here, how many month gap should be there? 6 months. From October, go back to 6 months. That is September, August, then July, then June, May, and then April. So July and April will be your answer. Simple question. Attend this. Right. So when you start doing this, you are not taking too much of time. You are getting the answers also. You are the same psychologically. The 10 minutes, I had done 3 correct. 10 minutes, other person is going in order, not done anything. Now you think about psychologically, I am already feeling comfortable. So this is how it works. It is not that, somebody who is doing or clearing are different. All they are doing is they are logically thinking. They will not involve themselves in that pressure mind itself. It is a difficult question. All I need is passing marks. I will leave them. I will come back later. If the time permits, I will come back. It is not that I have to do from the order itself. Right. So next. Okay. Team X has scored n runs in 20 overs. Now see what is the problem is happening. They are checking your conceptual clarity. Now no more they are giving 20 overs may he has scored 200 runs. Then it becomes easy to calculate. Now they have started giving everything in variable to check whether you know the concept or don't know the concept. But again, this chapter is about percentage. Again, basic numeracy. The whole point is you have to understand how many basic questions are coming. Right? X scored n runs in 20 overs. Team Y scored 10% less. Same score in 10% less overs. Had team Y's average run rate been 50% higher, the score would have been tied in 12 hours. How many runs scored by team? So how do you do it? Question you have understood? Question is very simple. Team X has scored, certain score in 20 overs. Let's say they would have scored 200, 300, whatever the score they have scored in 20 overs. Team Y scored the same runs in 10% less overs. 20 overs ka 10% is how much? 2. So 2 hours less means they scored the same run in 18 hours. Now if they would have played faster, each over 50% run more would have been scored. Then they would have completed the scores within 50% high, they would have completed in 12 hours itself. Right? Instead of 18 hours, they would have needed only 12 hours if they had done it in 50% run rate per each over. If they had scored 50% more what they had scored, then they could have finished the same score in 12 hours. Now, what is the value scored by X? Right. So now, how do you do it? How do you do it? Interface. So how do you do it? Understanding the question, how it is becoming difficult. But again, if you know the answer, it is very easy answer. For this question, it should not take even 30 seconds. Right? There are 2 ways to do it. One, go through the options. See, whenever there are 2 ways to approach it. One goes through the option. I don't care about all this calculation. I check with 72. If it is working, I check with 144 also. Because there is one option cannot be determined. If 2 answers are coming, then cannot be determined. I don't need to check again with 2 and 6 also. If you get 2 answers are there, then 2 to cannot be answer. So it cannot be determined because there can be n number of answers. There is nothing one answer is there. Right. So I'll check with 72 first. Let's say somebody has scored 72 in 20 hours. Now somebody has scored that in 18 hours. That means that per hour how many runs he has scored? You want to score 72 runs in 18 overs. How many per over, how many runs you have scored? 18 fours are 72. That means that if total overs that is required is 18, per over runs scored is how much? 4. Right? Now what is the condition they have told? If he has increased his run rate by 50%. Right? So that means that if he has scored this, 50% of 4 is what? Half of 4. That is 2. So if he has increased by 2 more runs, that means that per over how much he has scored? 6 runs. To score 72 runs, if you are scoring 6 runs per over, how many overs it will take? 12 6 are 72. So they are told 50% higher, score would have tied in 12 hours, matching. First condition is matching. Now what I will do? Check with second option also, because there is an option of cannot be determined, right? So now think about 142, that is double the run. 72 ka double is 142. So that means that if total was 142, if you want to score it in 18 hours, if you have scored 4 runs, 72, double run if you want to score, for each over also you have to score double. So that means that each over how much you are supposed to score? 8 runs. 18 8 is 144. Now if it is 8 runs, now what they are telling, if he had scored 50% more, what is 50% of 8? 4. So that means that for each over how many he has scored now? 12. Each over 12. 12 overs. 12 12s are how much? 144. That is also match. So that means that there can be n numbers that will match the same condition, right? So that means that answer cannot be. This is one way. But what is the logic behind it? What is the logic behind it? It is about the percentage change, how it will happen when there is a, the consistent product will be there. If the product is constant, per over, how many runs he is scoring and number of overs. If you product them, final run should remain same. That means that 12 overs, 6 runs. This is also 72, the product is same. Or 18 overs, 4 runs. This is also 72. So that is called product consistency method. At the end of the day, product is same. So then, how much ever this will reduce by 50%. 50% is nothing but 1 by 2, right? If this has increased by 50%, then to maintain the same consistency, same product, we have to reduce this. If one is increasing, other should be reduced. In how much it will reduce? The reduction will happen in 1 by 3. So that means that 1 by 3 of 18. What is 1 by 3 of 18? 6. If you reduce 6, it can be done in 12 hours. It is very, very useful concept when we are solving many of the problem, where I say that, many of the problem you are getting. For example, in profit and loss or other kind of problem. Let's say you are spending 1000 rupees. 1000 rupees per petrol you are spending. Let's assume like this. Now, that means that how much total you spend depends upon, what is the price of petrol into how many liters you consume. Let's say if there is 100 rupee is the rate of petrol, you consume 10 liters, right? So that means the total expenditure becomes 1000. Tomorrow petrol prices increase. Your pocket money remains 1000 only. So how do you manage? You have to consume less petrol, right? So that is how basically your product will remain same. Let's say if the petrol price increased to 125. That means that how much increase in the petrol price has happened? 20% in the fraction, if I want to rate, 1 by 4. Right? If this has increased by 1 by 4, then consumption has to be decreased by 1 by 5. Simple. That I will tell you how that has to be done when you are doing percentages. Don't worry. But logic is this. That means that if it is 125 and 8 liters if you consume, 125 into 8 is how much? 1000. 100 into 8, 800. 25 into 8, 200. If you add, it will become 1000. So, if I increase here by 25%, that is 1 by 4, consumption has to be decreased by 1 by 5. What is 1 by 5 of 10? 2. Decreased by 2. That's it. The same logic here. If the run rate has increased by 50%, that is 1 by 2. Number of overs required to score the same runs, because product at the end of the day, overs per over run. Total run should remain same. The product is, in both the cases, it is remaining same. So that means that when you are multiplying it, if one is increased by 1 by x, another will be increased by another patient. That how that, the decrease has to be done 1 by 2, 1 by 3. That when we are taking a percentages, we'll solve through that. So that all these kind of problem, your consumption is increasing, your consumption should go down, those problems become very, very easy, right? So that is the method that we are going to have. Understand the concept, then apply the basic formula, how it is supposed to be done, not the bookish formula. Not write the formula and solve it, but understand the logic behind it. So in that way, it is an easy question. Now I know that this is 50% is increased, 1 by 3 should decrease. Happening, so it can happen to any score there. So it cannot be determined. So that is basically, or if you are not getting that logic, then in exam what you are supposed to do? Check with option 1, check with option 2. 18 overs you know, per over 4, then increase it to 6, then see how many overs. satisfying the condition. Then take 144. If it is 144, 18 overs means 8 runs. That means that now I want to increase by 50%, that is 12 runs per over. How many overs? 12 overs. So if it is matching for two options, then both the cannot be correct. That means that there can be multiple like this, right? So that means that cannot be determined will become your answer. But if it is not matching for this, then check with this. Then also it is not matching. Now if there are 4 options, then automatically this will become your answer. But here it is matching for multiple option, you should think that. So that means that even though if you are not understanding how to do it in the exam, what you should do, at least using the option, understanding what it is, the problem has to be solved and then check. These kind of things also help you to solve the problem. Alright. So yeah, the whole problem is again percentage. Again, if you look at here, the price of commodity is first increased by k percent, then decreased by k percent, again increased by k percent, again decreased by k percent. Now, if the price is q, after doing all this, final price is q. What is the relation between p and p into 10 to the power of 4 minus k square whole square is equal to q into 10 to the power of 8. So, what do you do in such problems? What do you do? Leave them, go to the next question, right? But it is very simple problem again. See, when your basics are strong, all these are very simple. But what I am saying, in the exam, if you are not getting that point, don't try to solve them without knowing it properly. Right? Solving is very simple. How it will be solved? Anything. For example, if 110% is increased, that means that initially something was 100 rupees or let's say 500 rupees. If 10% is increased, it will be made 110% now of the initial value. So that is basically 50 rupees will be increased, it will become 550 rupees. So that means that whenever you are increasing, 10%, how do you write? 100 plus 10, 110%, that is 100 plus 10. Here I don't know how much percent, k percent, that is increased divided by 100. Percent means divided by per 100, right? From the initial value, right? Here initial value was 500. 100 plus 10, 110. 110 by 100. So 100 5s are 5 into 110 will be 550. This is how it will come. So that is basically if k percent is increased, 100 plus k percent will increase. If k percent is decreased, then 100 minus k it will happen. So every time you are increasing, decreasing, the same will happen. So that means that if they have given k percent, what the rule should have been? Rule should have been something like this, right? 100 plus k, initial value was p. When it was increased, it become 100 plus k divided by 100. Now this is the new value. You have to decrease by how much? K percent again. So this will again become 100 minus k by 100. Again you are increasing again by k percent. So this will become 100 plus k of this value. Now this is new value. This value ka 100 plus k divided by 100. Now this is the new value. When you decrease again k percent, it will become 100 minus k divided by. So 100, 100, 100, 100. 4 times is there. Here a plus b into a minus b. A plus b into a minus b is what? A square minus b square. So 100 plus k, 100 minus k. So that means that 100 square, a square minus b square, right? That is 100 square minus k square. Same thing again, 100 square minus k square. 2 times it has been done. So it is nothing but whole square. Similarly, 100 is 10 square. This is 10 square. This is 10 square. This is 10 square. 4 times 10 square, 10 square, 10 square, 10 to the power 8. So this will become 10 to the power of 8. P was anyways there, which is equal to what? Final value? Q. So that means that P into 100 square minus k square whole square is equal to q into 10 to the power 8. So 100 power also can be written as 100 is nothing but 10 square. So 100 square is what? 10 square whole square, that is 10 to the power 4. Right. So if you look at the question, that was it is 10 to the power of 4 minus k square whole square into p is equal to q into 10 to the power 8. That is just if you know how to expand it, that is the answer. That's it. But in the exam again, when I am saying, when I look into this question, if you don't know to expand it, leave that question at that point of time, move to the next question. you don't do that, if you are doing something else, you are assuming a number. Sometimes people will assume initial number is 100, P is 100, then K% is 10%. Initially it works because 100 you increase to 10%, it will become 110. Then you again decrease 10%, 10% of 110 will be 11, 99. Again if you want to increase 10%, then it will become 9.9. That will become 100 and 8.9. That 10%, that will become 10.89. Then you have to decrease. Then you have to check with the formula. That will not work. Okay. So how to choose the number also we will decide when we were solving it. Right. So how to assume a number. It is not always better idea to assume anything you come. 100 is the assumption. Assume x is 100. That is not how you are supposed to do. Right. When you assume everything as 100, then things will not work. Right. We will discuss that how to assume a number. Okay, which number has to be assumed, so that you always get a right number in your pocket. Right, so that we will assume. All right. So now again it is about percentage. I am just showing you this because you are understanding how questions are coming. Are there any time and work now? No. Right. So the questions are basic numeracy. Already we are at the 5-6 question we have attended, all on the basic numeracy, except on that logical reasoning, July other thing. Right. Next. Okay. Here. 7 into 24 equal to 25. 12 into 16 equal to 20. Then what is 16 into 63? For this kind of question, what will you do? I am showing you 2025 paper to understand the real difficulty, how much it is. So, neglecting CSAT is not a choice, right? Now, what is these numbers? Anybody knows about these numbers? These are Pythagoras triplets, right? If you know that, what is Pythagoras triplets? 3, 4, 5, right? 3 square plus 4 square, 3 square is 9, 4 square is 16, 9 plus 16 is 25, which is equal to 5 square. Similarly, if I double all the number, 6, 8, 10, 6 square, 36, 8 square, 64, 36, 64 is 100, which is nothing but 10 square. Similarly, if I make it 3 times, 3, 9, 4, 3s are 12, 5, 3s are 15. It will work for this also, right? So that is 9 square is 81, 12 square is 144, 144 plus 81 is 225, which is nothing but 15 square. So similarly, if I do it 4 times, that will be 3 4s are 12, 4 4s are 16, 5 4s are 20. That is nothing but 12 into 16 into 20. That is 12 square plus 16 square will be 20 square. Now they have given these two numbers. That is 16 square into 63 square will be which number? Right. So now will you do the square and do the calculation? You know what is 16 square? You know. So do you know 63 square? Do you calculate in the exam? Right. These are the small things that we do. Once you know it is Pythagoras theorem, that is okay. From there I have got. But still if I do calculate, it will take 3 minutes to calculate 63 square, then add and then take the square root of it. So what I should do? I should understand that 63 square will end up with 9 because it is number is ending up with 3. 3 square will end up with 9. What will be 6 square? Ending up with 6. So I am adding certain number here, I don't know. But I am adding them. 9 plus 6, what should be the answer? Should end with 5. If it is ending up with 5, right, square root should also end with 5. So that means that which should be the answer? That is how you have to basically use your basic understanding. Stop calculating everything. I will calculate 63 square, then 16 square, then add the number, take the square root. That should not be the idea. You should know that I will take the last digit, so that if I know last digit is 5, square root also will be 5. So which number is having 5 here? 65 is having, you should stop. So once first is understanding whether it should be Pythagoras theorem. If you don't understand that altogether, for first two numbers you can check. 7 square is 49, right? 24 square is, how much is 24 square? 5. How much is 24 square? 576. 576 plus 49 will be 625, which is basically 25 square. Right, so that is basically both are Pythagoras, they have checked it. But again, if you are, in first 1 minute, if you are not decoding it, please leave it and go to the next question. Right, but these having familiarity with the numbers will help you to solve this. 12, 16, 20, I know because it is a 3, 4, 5 ka. If you can do for any number, 3, 5 times 15, 4, 5 times 20, 5, 5 times 25. So 3, 4, 5 times is 15, 15 square is 225. 4, 5 times is 20, 20 square is 400. 400, 225. How much it is? 625, which is nothing but 25 square. So that one time if you get a triplet, all its multiple also are triplet. Understand that logic. So just if you know 3, 4, 5, tomorrow if you give 300, 400, 500, they are also triplet. If they are giving 18, right, 24, then 3 6 are 18, 4 6 are 24, 5 6 are 30. So they are triplets. Once the triplet, all its multiple also triplet. So that you should be knowing. Alright. So what I am saying is again the basic rule. Now, who tell me this? Okay, why I am showing this? Just to understand how the questions are coming. Right? Just understand this. A petrol price shot up by 10%. Which chapter? Percentage. Right? Now we have not got any other questions as of now. Only percentages, number system. Just to understand that what is that you have to master first. Right? Okay. A petrol price shot up by 10%. As a result, hike in the crude oil prices. Price of petrol before the hike was 90 rupees per liter. Okay? A person must travel 2200 km every month. And his car gives mileage of 16 km per liter. Okay? By how many kilometers he should reduce his travel if he wants to maintain his expenditure at the previous level? Clear? Question is clear? What is the question? Now see, this is where basically I have seen the student making the mistake. They see mileage, right? 90 rupees, then they calculate everything. What we know, his final consumption expenditure should remain same. How expenditure will be calculated? Petrol price into how much quantity he is consuming. If petrol price is 100 rupee, he consume 10 liter, then total expenditure will be 1000. If petrol price is 100, if he consumes 5 liter, then total price will be 500. So total expenditure. So that means that expenditure is constant. Petrol price into quantity is his expenditure. How much is his expenditure? 2000. Okay. Here, till here it is completely fine. Right? Now what they are telling? What they are telling? Right? No, 2200 kilometer. Okay. So not the total price is 2200. Okay. So 2200 he is consuming. Right. Now he is traveling 2200. As a hike in the price, you cannot increase your consumption. So what you have to do? You have to reduce your travel itself. If the petrol price is increased by 10%, right? So that is 1 by 10. Increase of petrol has happened by how much? 1 by 10. If I want to maintain the expenditure, how much I have to reduce my consumption by? 1 by 11. So before you are traveling 2200 kilometers. Now how much you have to reduce? 1 by 11 of 2200. What is 1 by 11 of 2200? 2200 divided by 11. 11 ones are 11 2. That is your answer. There is nothing about per liter how much it will give, 16 kilometer, what is the price in the petrol. All these are extra information to confuse you. You want to get involved in solving it before understanding the logic. The logic is very simple. Petrol price, whatever it is, if it is increases, to maintain the same expenditure, I have to reduce my traveling itself. How much petrol price increased by 1 by 10? My travel has to be decreased by 1 by 11. So 1 by 11 of, before it was 2200, reduce it by 1 by 11. 1 by 11 is 2. That's it, that is your answer. So even for all these questions, how much time it is? If you know the logic, I am not worried about this 16 kilometer mileage will give, 90 kilometer liter, all this is to distract you. Now what they are doing, unnecessary data is being given. So that you start, without thinking, I will write 16 kilometers, so 90 to travel 2200 kilometer, 16 kilometer will give, so how much he will consume the petrol, first you will think. All those are absolutely not required, you get stuck with the problem if you do that. So only thing you have to understand is, if there is an increase in the expenditure, your expenditure should remain same. If the price is increased, consumption should be decreased. That is the only logic. right? So once you understand all these chapter percentages, we solve one by one, what are the kind of problem, same thing will come, right? Then you will understand this, how you are supposed to, but it is again percentage question, okay? Anyway, so now don't worry about questions now, as of now, but just worry about this. A 4-digit number such that when divided by 3, 5, 6, 9 leaves remainder 1, 3, 4, 7 respectively, what is the smallest value of n? Which chapter is this? First you understand which chapter? Number system, LCM chapter, right? Within that LCM topic. Now what is this question? How do you solve this? So I want you to understand these kind of problems should not be solved, but only visualized and solve it. What is the meaning of it? Let's say if I solve by 3, how much remainder it is giving? 1 extra it is giving. So if I reduce from the number 1 is reduced, then number should be completely divisible. If it is, for example, if answer is 1068, when you divide by 3, it is giving 1 remainder. What is the meaning of it? 1067 should be completely divisible. Getting my point? Similarly, if it is 1072 is there, that means that if it is giving 1 remainder, 1071 should be completely divisible. 1072 will give you 1 remainder, right? So now what I will do, I will not solve them again. What I will think, go through the options. First assumption is what? Let's say 1067 will be divisible. I will check whether it is correct or not. If 1067 is divisible, add the number. How you will see whether it is divisible by 3? Add the digit. That is 1 plus 6. That is basically how much? 7. 7 plus 7. How much? 7 plus? No, 8 is giving 1 remainder. So I feel that 1067 should be divisible. I am not checking for 1068 because 1068 is not divisible by 3. They are telling when you divide 1068 by 3, 1 is the remainder. So 1068 is giving 1 extra. That means that 1067 should be completely divisible. So check for 1067. Is it correct or not? Is 1067 be divisible by 3? Because you add 6 plus 7, 13, 13 plus 1, 14, which is not divisible by 3. So 1067 is not divisible by 3, so it cannot be answered. Check for 1072. 1072 is giving 1 remainder, but I want a number which is divisible. That means that 1071 should be divisible. That is 7 plus 1 plus 1, 9, divisible. So this can be answer. Similarly, check for this 1, 7, 8. So this will become, 8 will become 1077 should be divisible. So that means that 1 plus 7 plus 7, 15 divisible by 3. This is also a possibility. Now 1082, right? So that means that 1081 should be divisible. 1 plus 8, 9, 9 plus 1, 10, not divisible by 3. So this cannot be our answer. Now what should be the answer? These two are answer. Now go with the 5. When you divide by 5, what remainder you are getting? 3. So that means that it should be either end with 3, because when you divide anything by 5, when it will divide, either it should end with 5 or it should end with 0. If you want to give 3 remainder, then it should end with 3, right? Or it should end with 8, right? So that means that you have to see which is ending up with 8 here. 1078. So that is, 1075 will be divisible, 3 extra. That's it. You do not solve this problem and calculating smallest number and all. These are the smaller problem where you have to do it within 30 seconds and get the advantage. That is when you practice this kind of problem through the option, how you are thinking, automatically these problems can be solved. Right? All right. Now, logical reasoning. See the problem. If A is less than equal to B is greater than C is greater than C is T, D is greater than E is greater than F is greater than or equal to G, then B is always greater than E. First question. Second, if P is greater than Q, equal to R, greater than or equal to S, equal to T, less than or equal to U, equal to V, greater than W, then S is always less than V. What do you do to such problems? First, logical reasoning. Yes. So now what will you do for such problem? Is it difficult or easy problem? Or a confusing problem? No, whatever that you feel, you have to see. This is a orientation, and you're not doing teaching anything. When you teach the things, it will be fine. But I'm just trying to know you guys. That's it, right? So, whether it is an easy problem or a difficult problem. If you look at it, it should be very easy problem, right? Though it looks too many, but at the end of the day, why people get confused? They think from A to G. I will not think from A to G. My job is what? I want to compare B and D, right? So if I want to compare B and D, I don't care about A here, okay? So all I will write is B is greater than C. Greater number I will write left side. This is C. That means that B is greater than C. Now C is less than D. You have to convert everything to same sign. That means that if C is less than D, can I say that D is greater than C? Ulta of it also I can say if C is less than D, I can say that D is greater than C. So convert all of them into same symbol. So if D is greater than C, so D has to be somewhere here, anywhere, right? This has to be behind the C, because the greater number I am writing this side, smaller number I am writing this side. Next, D is greater than E, right? So again, E can be here also. If D is this, E can be here also, right? Anywhere, but it should be after the D, right? Similarly, that is it. Now B is always greater than B, they are telling. Let's say D is here. E can be here. Then there can be B. Then there can be C, right? So that means that it is not always. So just you compare. G, H are not necessary. So like that, if you just compare, because you have to understand that it can be any value, right? B, C you have written. They have told that B is greater than C, you have written. D is greater than C means D can be here also, or D can be here also. Two chances are there for D, right? It can be greater than B also, it can be less than B also. But only what I know, it is greater than C I know, that's it. I don't know the relationship between B and D. Next statement, D is greater than E. That is, E should come here also. E can come here and immediately after D also, or D can become immediately after E. So wherever I can place the E, only thing is it should come after the D. So that means that in this case, D after E after B. Here E is greater than B. But if I write E here, then B is greater than E. So that means that always is not a possibility. You cannot tell always. The way you write, it depends. So there is no clarity. So always becomes wrong. Similarly, the same thing. P is greater than Q. Here also what should be compared? S and V. Don't worry about all the numbers. Now from S only I will start. S equal to T. S equal to T. I will write in the same line. Okay. Now T is less than or equal to U. Right. So T is less than U means U can come here, or it can be equal to U also, or you can come here. There are two options, right? T is less than U, that is U is greater than T, or U can be equal to T. Two ways I can write it. Next, U equal to V. That means that in this case V will come here. In this case U will come here, right? U and V are in the same line, right? Now what they are telling, S is always less than V. Now in this case, S is less than V, correct. But in this case, S and V are equal. They are in the same line. So that means that always less than V. Is it correct? No. So this is also. Just you should not take all. P also I will take, Q also I will take. Whichever is required, only you have to stick to that. This is the mistake with normal students and who comfortably do it. It is not that they are also doing the same thing. But question is about S and V, so I will stick whole my plan to S and V. I don't care about P, I don't care about Q, I don't care about R. I don't care about W. I will stick my whole plan here. Then automatically you will be getting the answer. So that is how unnecessarily if you start writing everything, then you don't know where to place what, then you start getting the confusion. So it is always very important what is being asked and what has been seen. Right? Anyways, when we solve all the problem, you will be in a better position to solve them. Now, what is the unit digit of this? Now, it is a big problem. Unit digit, 5 is involved. Anything you multiply with 5. What can be answer? Either 0 or 5. When it will be 0? When you multiply 5 with even number. When you 5 multiply even, 5 with odd number, then will be 5. So is there any even number here? Right. So that means that 5 is there, all are odd. So if you are multiplying odd number with 5, what should be your answer? 5. That is it. Right. Also, if you multiply one number is 5, answer should be either 0 or 5. So here there is no 0, 1 is there, 3 is there, 9 is there. If 1 5 is there, all its multiple should be either 5 or 0. So if there is no 0, then there should not be confusion at all. Answer should be 5 within again 30 seconds. See how much time we are taking. This is what you have to understand. Easy question you pick, do it in 30 seconds. Like that, if you can do, let's say 10 problem, even if you take 1 minute for example, right, 20 minutes, if you have done 10-15 problem also and your passage is 30, already you are at 40-45 question in the 1 hour 15, 1 hour 20 minutes. You still have 45 minutes to do the game. But many students tell, I just attended 42. One, they take lot of time in passage and then they start from the beginning, just because they have studied this chapter, you should not feel that I should do. Even if I studied, if there is a lot many things that I have to solve, then I will not feel it is worth of solving it for 2.5 marks in the beginning. I search for the easy question. Getting my point? So these like this basically, search for the easy questions. Passages anyways are there, right? Now, consider 100 natural numbers. How many of them are not divisible by any of the 2, 3, 5, 7, 9? It should not be divisible by 2, it should not be divisible by 3, it should not be divisible by 5, it should not be divisible by 9. So how do you think about it? What he is basically asking about. Should not be divisible by 2, 3, 5, 7, 9. Prime numbers, right? That is, because the prime number, when you are discussing how to check a prime number, we will understand it, but that is the same logic here. But otherwise also, if I don't know it is a prime number, I am not getting. So what all that is divisible by 2 should not be taken. That means that even number should not be taken. Out of 1 to 100, total 100 numbers are there. How many even numbers will be there? 50 even numbers will be there. So that 50 should not be taken. So that means that I left with 50 numbers, odd numbers. Now it should not be multiple of 3 also. Now if you think 3, 6, 9, 12, like that multiple of 3 comes after every 3, 3, 3. So it will start with 3 up to 99. 333 is a 99, right? So 399, 33 numbers will be there. 3 ones are 2, 3 33. So 33 numbers are there. Within that 33 numbers, 16 numbers are even. 3 2s is even, 3 4s is even, 3 6s is even. That means that 16 number, if I remove, how many odd numbers will be there? 17 odd number, that should not be taken. This 17 numbers is gone now from the calculation. Now think about 5 multiples should not be taken. Now anyways you don't need to take 2 also, 3 also, multiples of 2 and 3. That means that number will start with 5. Then 5, 10 you cannot take, 15 you cannot take, because already 5 3s are 15, 3 5s are 15. In 3 you have already calculated it. 10 you don't need to take because with 2 already you have taken it. Similarly 20 you don't need to take because multiple of 2 you have already taken it. 5 5s are you should take, right? So because 25 was neither a multiple of 3, neither multiple of 2, so it has not been calculated. Similarly 35 you can take, 45 you don't need to take because 45 is nothing but 5 9s are, it is multiple of 3 itself. So similarly 55 you can take, 5 11s are. Similarly 65 you can take, 75 you don't need to take because 75 is nothing but again multiple of 3, right? So 85 you can take, 95 you can take. That means that 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, again 7 more numbers are gone, right? Like that. Now 7 ka whatever that is left, 7 you cannot take. Similarly 49, 7 square 49 you cannot take, right? All other 7 11s are you cannot take, that is 77 you cannot take, 13 7s are 91 you cannot take. So these 4 numbers you cannot take. So that is again adding to 4 more, right? So similarly 9 you don't need to consider because already you have considered everything in 3. If it is already not divisible by 3, anyways it will be divisible by 9 also. So 9 is not need to take. So total 50 plus 67, 67 plus 7. How much? 74, 74 plus 4, 78 number should not be taken. Remaining number should be taken. So if you remove 78 numbers out of 100, remaining 22 can be taken. Right. So in that way, basically, you should be taking into consideration. Not all the prime number, that is why. Right. All the prime number except 2, 3, 5, 7 should not be taken. That is the whole logic. But anyway, so again the whole idea is number system. Right. Next. Okay. Not do much, but I just show you a few problems. That's it. That is why I'm not showing random problem. Order wise, you can see how many number systems keep coming. Right. If 4 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 8, then and 2 is less than or equal to y is less than or equal to 7, what is the ratio of maximum value of x plus 5, minimum value of x minus 5? Okay. How do you do it? See, all these are very simple problem, no? I just want a ratio of maximum value of x plus y. When you get maximum x plus y, maximum x value, maximum y value, if you add maximum x plus y, you will get. Two large number you add, large number you will get. So to get the maximum value, x should be as high as possible, y should be as high as possible. What is the highest possible value of x? X is less than or equal to 8. So maximum value is what? 8. Right. Similarly, what is the maximum value of y? That is 7. Right, that is 7. Right. So total it will be 50. Okay. Now I want minimum value. How will you do minimum value? If each is smallest, then you will get minimum value. Let's say if there are, see, I will give you two possibilities, right? One is there, 7 is there. One is there, another, this is x, okay? This is y, 1 and 6 are there. Now if I subtract 1 and 6, okay, x minus y, I need least value, right? If I subtract 1 minus 1, 0. But if I take minimum value here, maximum y value, that is 1 minus 6, that will be minus 5. So whatever that is being subtracted, that should be as large as possible. From what you are subtracting, that should be as small as possible. So that means that x should be minimum, y should be maximum. Then the difference will be maximum, or the minimum that number you can get. So that means that what is the minimum x you can get is x value should be taken minimum. What is minimum value of x? 4. What is maximum value of y? 7. So if you subtract 4 minus 7, that is minus, right? So that is 15 divided by minus. What is 15 divided by minus 3? 15 by 3 is 5 minus 5. So answer will be none of the, right? So that is your answer. So whole point is again, only if you know that basic rule. If I want to get maximum value, both should be maximum. If I want minimum value, from which number I am subtracting, that should be as less as possible. From what number is being subtracted, that should be as large as possible. From 0, if you subtract 100, minus 100 it will be. But if you subtract 0 minus 0, it will still remain 0. So you should have one maximum number, one smallest number, then the difference will be as high as possible. So that is how you should be looking into it. Here you should not write this should be, maximum, minimum number, right? So, this is sometimes people write x as 7, x as 8, y as 4, sorry 2. Like this you should not write, right? Then it will become 6. So what you should do? From which number it is being subtracted, that should be as small as possible. Which is being subtracted, that number should be as large as possible. So the difference can be as minimum as possible, right? But get a maximum number, both should be maximum. Then the final sum will also be maximum. So that was the logic. So just if you know that logic, add it, get the answer. These are the easiest questions. Looks difficult, but once you understand the basic, once you do start solving them, these are the easy questions that can be solved within 30 seconds. Just know the value, write it, get the answer. That's it. Right? So sometimes none of the above is there, cross verify. Right? Because whether I have made some mistake or not, I will just cross verify. Again, both P and K are prime numbers such that P square K is also a prime number less than 30. What is the number of possible values of K? Right? All are less than 30. Now you tell me the logics. First, P is also a prime number. Right? All the possible prime numbers are what? 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, then 23, 29. Okay? These are the prime number below 30 it is there. P and K both are prime number such that P square K is also a prime number less than 30. So that means that P and K should also be less than 30 only, because if you add two numbers, if they were more than 30, if you are adding them, sum will be more than 30 itself. So sum is basically less than 30 means both individual numbers should also be less than 30. Now you should get this sum. Okay. Now question is P square plus K, not that you are adding two primer, square of one and another is basically this. Now you tell me what is the logic. To get a prime number, first is you have to get a prime number. To get a prime number, whether you should get an odd number or an even number. If even number, it is not a prime number. First thing that has to come, odd number. Now let's say if both were odd here, odd square is also a odd. Another odd, if you add odd plus odd, what it will become? Even. So that means that both cannot be odd number. P square also odd, K also odd, then sum will become even. So I cannot take P square and K as odd numbers. So how I can get sum as odd number? One should be even, one should be odd. Right? So I can have, how I can get one even? Where is one even I will get? 2 is even. So that means that among P and K, one must be what? 2, because there is only one even number is there. So if you want sum as odd, one should be even, one should be odd. To get that even, when I can get even, I should have one even that is possible only through 2. So that means that among P square and K, one should be what? Now you think about, first consider P as 2. Okay. P square is 4. So that is, P square is 4. So what should be K value here? P square is 4. Now adding some number should get a prime. Right? 4 plus 3. 7 prime number. So K can be 3. Right? Similarly 4 plus 5. 9. Is it a prime number? No. K cannot be 5. If P has to be 2, then K cannot be fine. If P is 2, then 7. 4 plus 7. 11. So that means that K can be 7. Again if P is 2. Now if I add 13, that is 4 plus 13. 17. So that will be again 4 can be, K can be 13. Similarly 4 plus 19. 23. Possible. 4 plus 17 if I add, it will become 21. 21 is not a prime number, so 17 is not a possibility. Similarly 4 plus 23. 27, not a prime number. 4 plus 29 if I add 33 it will become, but they have given a condition that sum should be less than 30. So with 2 all the possibility has been checked. Now I can have other possibility, that is what? K is 2 itself. P can be any other number. For example 3 square 9 plus 2. Right? So that means that K can be 2 also. Right? So now how many different value of K there has to be? It can be 2, it can be 3, it can be 7, it can be 13, it can be 20. So how many values you are getting? 5 value, that will be. So just to, here the logic is what? If I want to add two numbers, then I want to get a prime number. It is only possible when the sum is odd number. To get that sum as odd, 2 cannot be even, 2 cannot be odd. If you add 2 odd numbers also, answer will be even. If you have 2 even number also, answer will be even. To get that odd number, 1 should be even, 1 should be odd. So now when you understand when should be even means there is only one even possibility, that is 2. 2 should be there, either in a 2 square way or K as a 2 itself. So in both the cases you have to check. First have 2 square, check with all the other possible which will satisfy the different case. Now having another number possible, k make it 2. Check with 3 square 9 plus 2, that is one possibility, right? So similarly, 5 square is 25 plus 2 27, not a possibility, but 7 square already 49. So if you add anything, it will become more than 30. 11 13 square and all, you don't need to check it out because sum should be less than 30. So usually generally people will neglect that k also can be 2 with 3 square and 2. So that is why sometimes they can put 2. So both condition, it can be this number also can be k or p square also can be. So any one can be even. This can be even, this can be even. Two possibility you make and check both the possibility. That is how it will. So now what I am making you to solve, all these are very simple problem. You have to understand the basic behind it. If you don't understand even plus even odd, that logic if you don't understand, then it becomes a more calculative. Right? So our job is to first understand the philosophy, the basics behind it, then try to solve it. That is the whole logic. And I will show you one or two questions. Then we will discuss having a general idea what you are supposed to do and other things. Okay, all these are same kind, LCM, HCF. Right, again number system. Right, now PQR minus PS equal to PPT. Again basic operation with the digits. Right, now this is one question where again logical reasoning you have to fit in. But these kind of question, best idea is write it as it is. Give that B, whatever the option given, B, C, B, C, A, you write it. See, is there any logic happening? If it is not and you are not getting any logic, stop it, put another 3 numbers, another 5 numbers. So whichever, whenever you fill with all the 4 options, whichever makes the logic, that will be logic. Don't try to think the logic here because the gaps are there. I don't understand the logic. Once I put the number only, I can see a sequence. So rather than trying to see the sequence and then think of the number, you directly put the answer. See which is making sequence. Which is making logical sequence, that will be your answer. For example, if I put final answer, for example, B, right, then A, B, B, C, C, C. Again, next number will be, A, B, B, C, C, C. Again, next number, A, B, B, C, C, C. So that is basically this. If you put A, B, B, C, C, A is 1 time, B is 2 time, C is 3 time. Again, A is 1 time, B is 2 time, C is 3 times. So these are the easy problem that you are supposed to practice. So the best idea is rather, because since the the blank is there, you cannot understand the logic altogether. So it is better that you put the number, see which is making the sequence. Okay. Again 30 seconds per problem. Right. So again, if you see, you have not got any other problem. Right. Now, if you look at this, what is the maximum value of n such that these things. Right, these are all again number system, divisibility, highest factor, right, easy problem. Again sequence, easy problem, right, 12 is there, then 12, 1, 18, 18 2s are 36, 12, 1.5 times 18, 18, 2, 6, 2 cents is this, again 2.5 times is 90, so if you can do that, or what else you can do, put a number and see which will make the sense. If you are not getting, then try to put the 4 answer also, see where you can make the sense. If I put 9 here, I am not getting any sense here. 24 to 9, you are not get the sense. But if I put 12 here, 24 half is 12. 12 1 time is 12. 12 1.5 times is 18. 18 2 times. That is, I am increasing by 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. So here it was 0.5, 12 into 0.5, that is 12. After that, it is 12 into 1, that is 12. Again 12 into 1.5, that is 18. 18 into 2, 36, 36 into 2.5, that is 90. So 0.5, 0.5 increasing, it happens. Right. Again, P and Q start. Now one question that has come here. Right. So that is basically this. P and Q walk along a circular track. They start at 5 a.m. Right. From the same point in a opposite direction. Right. So P walks at an average speed of 5 rounds per hour. In 1 round, 1 hour, he will cover 5 rounds. Q walk at an average speed of 3 rounds per hour. Right. Now, how many times will they cross each other between 5:20 and 7 a.m.? That is, in 1 hour 40 minutes, how many times they will cross each other? That is the question. Very simple question. Right. If you know the logic, very simple question. Right. So what I am telling is, when you solve all these kind of problem in our class, all the different, what are the possible? If they are moving in a same direction, how it will be done. If they are moving in an opposite direction, how it will be done. So once you understand the logic, this becomes very easy. What is the logic behind this? For example, if I have somebody else like this, A is coming from this side, B is coming from this side. When they will cross, let's say they will meet here, right? So that means that A has crossed this much, or traveled this much before meeting him, and B has traveled, let's say, this much before meeting him. Together, if you see, they have covered one round. While meeting, he has covered this distance. He has covered this distance. Together, if you see, they have covered one round. That means that he is covering 5 rounds. He is covering 3 rounds. Together, how many rounds they cover? 8 rounds. So that means that each time they cover one round together, they meet. So that means that in 1 hour, he is covering 5, he is covering 3. Total 8 rounds they cover. So in 1 hour, 8 times they would have met. Right? Because together, 1 round they are meeting. Since 8 rounds they are covering together, whenever they are covering 8 rounds, that means that in 1 hour, how many times they have met? 8 times they have met. Now the question is not in 1 hour. That means that for every 7 minutes they will meet one time. 60 minutes, 8 rounds. That means that 7 minutes, 7 8s are 56. So between 7 and 8 minutes they will meet. Right? So that means that in 1 hour, 8 minutes. Now remaining 40 minutes is there. Right? Let's say next half an hour I will take mentally. Half an hour, how many times they will meet? In 1 hour, if they can meet 8 times. Half an hour, 4. So that is 1.5 hours. How many times they have met now? 12. Now 10 minutes is remaining. Total journey is 5:20 to 7 a.m. That is 1 hour 40 minutes. 10 minutes is remaining. In 10 minutes, 8 minutes 1 round they will meet. In 10 minutes, that means that they would have met one more time. So that means that 12 plus 1. How many times they have met? That is it. That's it. That is the logic. So once you understand these all time speed distance, relative speed, meeting in the opposite direction, traveling in the same direction, and then how many times they will cross each other. All are different types of problem. Once you solve all the different types of problem possible, then your job is done. Whatever they ask, it will revolve around the same logic. You don't need to worry anything about. So, you will not study the bookish style, whatever the way that is been given in your books. I will tell you the logic first, how this concept involves. From there, we have a shortcut. Right, so we will apply the shortcut. We will have a formula also. What should be the formula? But in regular problem, how should your thought process should be, not the formula. Because formula is always time consuming. Right, so you should understand the logic and solve them. So that we are going to do in the class. That is why I will build you the concept first, make you understand the concept. From there, I will give you the shortcut how it has to be done. Not the other way of shortcut that you get in the YouTube, because that can affect you when the problem is little twisted. So we will not understand that kind of short, like you take 7 here, 6 here, then add, then that will be your answer. That kind of shortcut we are not going to do. We are going to do the shortcut only through the logic itself. With the logic, what is the logic behind it, and then how you should approach. That is how we are going to do. So don't worry about anything else. Okay, this CSAT classes will be more than enough. And whatever that is left, this time they have told this much has been told, but this has been done, I will cover them after GS. But before prelims, that is before February, not prelims, before February end, entire GS as well as CSAT will get over in a very comfortable way. Right? You don't need to worry about anything else. But as somebody were asking me the question, sir, should I solve any other text series? Please do solve. But don't learn the logic from them. For a content wise, if you want to solve, you solve. 2 hours I want to sit, you solve. But don't have your own plan along with the conquer plan. We are teaching economy here, you are having polity plan there. That you don't do. Till February, just follow the plan. If you want to do an extra test on polity from other institute or this institute anywhere, you can do. But when polity is happening, please focus on polity. Don't have your own plan. Right? So that is the only thing that we say. Right? So that what will happen, if you study and give, and then only I can identify whether you are making the mistake, you are conceptually doing the mistake or not. Otherwise, you always have an excuse, sir, I could not revise. Silly mistakes I did. Now that silly mistake is happening because of your thought process or lack of revision, I will never understand. So I will be telling, okay, you read next time and give, then things will work. Again you read next time, it will not work. Because the way of reading itself can be a mistake. You might not be picking the right point in the place. So you give your 100% and then we can evaluate you where exactly you are going with. And then we can fix it. And that is why the plan is 3 months before syllabus completion. So that next 3 months more test, and since we ourselves are setting the paper, for each question I will give you why this question has been asked, on which year ka question paper say we have been inspired, and what is the language. That the trends will be, type of question will be lastly from the last 4-5 years. But topics wise, theme wise, it can be last 15 years. That means that Buddhism has repeated. Last 2 years there were no question. Does not mean that I will not ask the question. Theme wise, whatever that is repeated, that we will ask. But the style of question asking, section 1, section 2, section 3, like that, the statement 1, 2, 3, statement 1 explains statement 2 and 3. This kind of thing, that whatever that a trend change is happening, that will be more close to the last 2-3 years. But the topic is either from the last 2-3 years, or if the theme is repetitive, for example, critical minerals. The question would have been asked in a different way. Since that is a repeating topic, government is focusing upon it, we will be asking that question. Though it has not been asked before. They would have asked on minor minerals, they would have asked on the atomic minerals. So we'll tell you from there, critical mineral is also something, it is always in the news. Rare earth minerals, it is always in the news. So getting inspired by atomic mineral and this, we are asking this. So I will give you that one liner why this question has been asked. So that you know that okay, this question is why it is been asked, why I have to do. And something if I want to, because synopsis I don't want to dump the content. So sometimes what I can do is also study about these 3 topics from the net. Then because if I am doing something, this is in news, please study about this machine also that are in the news about this topic. Like that, in the synopsis I will give you the direction that you can use any AI machine and or internet mein jaake that topic you can cover. Otherwise what will happen, synopsis itself will be dumped again. So synopsis will keep it as simple as possible, but whatever the test can be filled as this can be read, then I will give you that this topic has to be read. So that much if you do, themes will be covered, topics will be covered. I myself will prepare the question, sit and question the question. So don't need to worry about anything. It's as good as I am preparing for the prelims. Okay, and Ashish sir is preparing for the prelims. Right? So it is like we prepare with you, we give the question, whatever that if I want to do prelims, then what I would have done, everything will be done. So you don't need to worry about anything else. Just keep it simple. Classes will be not too much detailing, because many of things we assume that you have already gone through your foundational classes. So basics so you will be knowing. So I will not be explaining emergency, where it has been taken, where the problem was there, that will be told in one liner. It has been taken from this 1935 Act, say emergency provision has been taken. I will tell you that. However, the enforcement or suspension of fundamental right, that has been taken from the Germany. This difference you should know. Overall emergency provision, how president rule will work, how financial emergency will happen, taken from the Government of India Act 1935. But your fundamental rights are curtailed during the national emergency. That we have taken it from the, so that you should be having the clarity. So those will be told where there can be clarity. But too much explanation about the basic things itself will be not be there. Because that is anyways available in the book. You are reading the book, you are getting it. It is more about that way, whatever that is needed, that will be given to you, right? And handouts will be given. PPTs of the class, I do through PPTs, because I can cover more concept. Ashish sir in general, he covers with more with the writing. So he will give his, class notes he will give. Along with the class notes, he will also give you handouts, whatever the important topics, important falls. We cannot make you teach all the falls there. So important falls will be made list out of, and on which river it is, why it is famous for, those kind of handouts will be given. That you can just cover, only that much information would be more than enough. Now in a book what will happen, Jog Falls located 50 kilometers from Shimoga district of those detail will not be there. It is on the Sharavati river, Dalest river, located in Karnataka. That's it. Not Shimoga district is not something that is really not required for the exam, right? So that will be basically avoided. So it is just a piece of information you will get. Like that we will cover everything. Whatever that we feel that it is left out also, we will cover after the February also. That is, and last 10 days, April, May, we have kept it for current affairs, so that last one more round of current affairs can be covered. Along with class only, current affairs will be done. If it is something in monetary policy news, when doing the monetary policy, I will cover the current affairs. However, there can be awards, sports. These cannot be clubbed with any of the subjects. For them, how to cover the current affairs, So you will not have that completeness feeling, even though I have done through the classes. So last 10 days, except only current affairs classes will be held. Along with that, only for you students, what we can do also is, I will solve you 10 years, that is from 2016 or 17. When the paper has become difficulties, 2017, 18 I can take. 15, 14 or more of direct kind of question. So, but keeping that in mind, 17 to 25, let's say, we will have a live solve of question paper, right? 8 years. Then live solving, what will happen? It is not that telling you the answer. If I am solving it, if I tell you, right, that this I will not do, I will just keep it. This I will put the other logic, not the knowledge. Knowledge is one component. Once you get the question paper, once you prepare the answer key, all the 100 question, I know the answer. But in the exam, how do I think about it? I have a basic idea. How do I think about it? So the thought process, strategic understanding, PYQ understanding, that we will do the 8 years ka paper, right? So how I solve, basically how I apply my logic, those kind of things. Not the PYQ discussion that we do in our PGP class. PGP class, what we'll do, we'll take a topic, what else can come, and what is the answer, in-depth explanation. Here it is not like that. It is basically about the strategic explanation. If I am solving this, I will eliminate this. I will apply this logic and get this answer. So that how do I think, the thought process also can be inculcated for both the GS as well as for CSAT. We will do that. So that overall strategic also you will be good at it, and the content wise basic foundational also we will be covering it. Don't worry about it. So everything will be covered. Current affairs will also be covered. So extra test if you want to do, please you can give from only content perspective, not from the strategy. Because they would have given ministry wrong 10 times. So in your mind, it will be imprinted that whenever ministry comes, I should put it wrong. In exam, by mistake, you would have given correct ministry. You are not even thinking putting it correct because you have practiced by like that. So strategy, never learn from anyone. Only from the UPSC PYQ understand the strategies. But time management, 2 hours. So those things you can solve the paper. And synopsis extra content ke liye, because science and tech, IR, and environment. Environment mein applied environment, not the first one, that is climate change, pollution, these kind of chapter. How much ever you do, there is no end to it. No book has covered it completely. No current affairs will cover completely. So even if you attend my class along with the current affairs, that might not be sufficient. But the idea will be what? Wherever there is no definite book, polity there is a definite book. Even if you don't solve one test paper also, if you can read the book well, you can still do well. But for science and tech, there is no one standard book. For IR, there is no one standard book. For them, what you have to do, one, you have to listen to the classes, but that will not be completely sufficient. Keep solving as many questions as possible, because he would have thought some science and tech, new technology, some other institute, they would have thought and given it. So you will get n number of different topics through the tech series. So for those topics which are current affairs related, no static material available. For them, you can solve as many tests as possible. But whatever that is a static part, modern India, one standard book you are studying, for them 100 solving, 100 getting, gathering the fact will not help. So for those you don't do it. For those where you feel that your study material itself is not sufficient, you can add the knowledge through the test series. Alright? So that we will do. So from Wednesday we will start the class with the number system. Right? So it will be 4 hours of class as I told you. Right? Please come up with the paper, try to solve here itself, please participate in the class, solve it basically, right? So take the time. If you are not understood, please ask me then and there itself. So I will explain that 1.5 hours to 2 hours, I keep it exclusively for explaining the concept. Let's say 1.5 hours. 1.5 hours mein we can cover lot of things. Then it will solving the question, right? So that you apply that 1 hour, again 1 more hour solving the questions. So 2 times you will solve the question, one with the PYQs, when with the other possible question. So that means that every day almost 2 to 2.5 hours you are going to solve the question in the classroom itself. Along with that, 5 to 10 question of the other exam conducted by UPSC will be given to you, that you go home and study whenever you want, or after the class gets over. For example, now you don't want to study. During the GS time, I don't want to lose the track. At that point of time, you can keep that as a thing and keep solving every day 5-6 questions to just to because in that also, GS also what we are going to do, 1 hour revision class will be there. 6 hours we will teach, 1 hour we will have the complete revision whatever that has been done. So that you can go home and revise quickly, plus study the extra material that is given that has not discussed in the class. For that you need more time rather than revising. So the revision of the class happens within the class, plus you can just go and glance it, plus extra material that is given to you that you go and see. And 6th day, there will be test. After 5 days, classes, 6th day test, please give the test and then come up with the paper, right? So 40 days, it will be very intense. That is why whatever mains ka part you want to do, please complete it now, right? So I was made a kind of, a light heartwarming video kind of thing at that day, because now it will be more about studies and other things. So our video editor told, let's do it next 3 months. Anyways, you are busy, right? So in that way, basically, right? So it will be intense. So please make sure that whatever the tapka mains ka small thing, optional other things are there, you just complete it. From January week, just come up with an open mind. We'll make sure that things will be easy. Everything will be associated with the exam itself. All right. So don't need to worry about anything else. So we'll meet on Wednesday. 10 to 2 will be class. Okay. So that afternoon you can keep it for your study. Right. Morning you come at 10, finish at 2. From 2 o'clock, it is your complete day with respect to your mains. You can continue. All right. All right. Thank you. See you on Wednesday.